Hey y'all, out here at Steve Holcomb Pro Auto Custom Interiors, and today what I'm gonna be doing is shooting the Shades of the Past 2012 giveaway car. And at first I'm gonna have Steve tell us a little bit about the interior he put in, but with any luck then we're gonna have Bobby Alloway tell us about the car and tell us about the show. So let me run these guys down and we'll take a look at it. Steve, how are you, brother?
I'm surprised to see you.
I heard you coming. Every night. I mean, you work so hard on them, you might as well take one for a ride.
Yeah, I just brought it in from the other shop. I figured I'd come around this way since it's a beautiful, nice day today.
How'd it run?
Runs good.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. I wish I could have just kept on cruising up to the mountains in it.
I'm with you. Well, that's nice, man.
Thank you.
I love how you did them door handles. There's not much you can do on these cars except for just a few little adjustments, because I mean basically the whole cockpit is the seat.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah. All you gotta do is just make sure that all the fit and finish is good on the doors and
Right.
they shut good. Yeah.
No.
Just make it clean looking interior.
Right.
Same thing with the trunk. Got an electric trunk over there.
Oh, of course. How cool is that? I gotta get one of those on my Mustang.
Make everything nice and clean and fit. And,
Right.
you know, throw your little
Cooler.
cooler right there and a snack bag right there and go off and have a picnic somewhere.
That's right. That's what you're thinking. Uh-huh. That's sweet. And then the gauges. Bobby had special gauges made for this car. They say Shades of the Past in them. And I love the color of them. That's very cool. Who picked the color for the leather?
Well, Bobby, we done another Corvette, if you notice. You remember that old Corvette
Oh,
had
yeah.
blue with the dark blue leather?
Right.
This is based on something like that right there.
Oh, okay.
He had a piece of that dark blue leather and he threw it up there and he said, man, that dark blue would look awful good on that. So it does.
Yeah, no, it did.
It was originally going to go black.
Oh, no, no,
the blue
yeah,
looked much better.
yeah. No doubt about that.
It's almost black. It's a real dark blue.
Dark blue, but now it sets off beautiful. I love the color of this car. It sets off beautifully. Who was that door handle your idea, or is that something you've done before?
Oh, well, yeah, I've done it before, but that was Bobby don't even have a clue what we're doing to it. So.
Right.
You want me to? You want me to pull down the sun where you can get a little bit better shot at it?
You know, let's get it back on this floor, see what we get.
Yeah, see how shiny it is?
Yeah.
Actually, it looks pretty clean underneath
It does
there.
look clean underneath there. Let me get back a little bit. That does look good on that floor, that blue against that gray. Well, reflective floor treatments, they did a nice job, didn't they?
Oh, yeah, I'm tickled.
Yeah, it's one of them things that you don't realize until you get it done, and then you realize that it's a big attribute to the shop.
Yeah, because I went back and looked at that video that they have on their website, and I looked and I thought, man, that floor did look awful bad at first, didn't it?
It sure did.
But yeah, they really got it going now.
Yeah.
Especially on that white and chrome, you can see it reflecting off that Corvette right there, too.
Yeah, sure enough. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm tickled.
Yeah, no, they did a nice job on that. I love them big wheels, too. I was asking you earlier, you think those centers are magnesium?
I have no idea.
I'm going to have to ask Bobby about that.
Yeah, he would know. He picks all that stuff out.
And then he's refinished, he's done the underneath as much as the rest of the car.
Bottom's just as nice as the top is, if not nicer.
And it looks like it's got drum brakes on the back, but those are disc, I'm guessing, eh?
Well, I'm not really sure. They do make a drum disc that looks like
Right.
a drum, or disc brakes that look like drum brakes.
Yeah, I'll ask him later, once he gets here.
Those actually look, I believe those are drum brakes on the back.
And he built this one just as good as he would any other car.
Oh,
And he's going to give it away. That's cool. Well, brother, for such a, like I say, you just don't have a lot to work with in one of these. It's just, I mean, the whole cockpit is a seat, and you know, all your styling's got to come from your tucks and things like that, and the way that you work things out. Kick panels.
That's why we put a little bit of, you know, aluminum trim accents here. You know,
Right.
we done these handles like this. You know, just, you know, pleated area from here, you know, from here down, and then the smooth up on top, and up under firewall too, where it all. If you notice, everywhere it's smooth, it ends in smooth, and you know, and then same thing with the pleats.
I got you. Well, and the cool thing about that is the pleats is kind of old school, but you've put a modern touch to it. You know, and this part here almost looks like a panel.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's actually a whole separate piece.
Right.
Yeah, we make that one. That's one piece all the way around from door to door, and then with the seat actually sits up underneath it.
Oh, wow.
So this looks a lot trickier looking than if you notice a lot of cars, they'll have like a whole panel here, and then the seats all cut up here.
Right,
And
right,
all that
right.
sort of look. This way it just sort of flows all together.
Right. Now, as always, you did a beautiful job.
Well, maybe if Bobby Alloway likes it, I guess we've done it right, right?
Well, with any luck, we'll ask him here in a few minutes. Folks, let me, Bobby's not here yet, but as soon as he gets here, we'll talk to him about the show he's giving this car away at, get a little more information about it, and just hang tight. Bobby, how are you, brother?
I'm fine, Scotty. How are you?
Doing good. Tell me a little bit about this hot rod.
It's our giveaway car, Shades of the Past, 2012. This is our 30th anniversary car. We're over here at Steve Holcomb's. He did the upholstery in it, and I came to pick it up tonight.
Right. Steve does all your interiors, are pretty much.
He's done quite a few of them lately. This is the 13th giveaway car he's done for us.
Holy cow. I mean, this is an awful nice car to give away. What do you got to do to qualify to win it?
You have to register for the show is all you have to do.
So you have to have a car in the show.
And no, you have to register for the show.
So you don't actually have to bring a car.
No.
You can just register.
No, we'd like for you to bring a car, but a lot of them didn't. And a lot of them will have cars there, and they'll have cars in Gatlinburg or Pigeon Forge and come over to the show and leave the cars at the motel.
I gotcha. When is this show?
September the 8th and 9th. It's always the weekend after Labor Day.
Okay.
That's what it is.
And it's a Friday and a Saturday
Friday
show?
and Saturday. Go home on Sunday.
Okay. Most people like that.
Ooh, travel day.
Yeah. So, tell me a little bit about the hot rod. I mean, it's a Bobby Alloway hot rod. Let's start with that. So, and you know, anybody that's in this world would love to have one of those. I've looked at the car. You didn't cut any corners on it.
We try not to cut any corners on the giveaway car. It doesn't have the hood on it now. Of course, it gets a hood. We get a lot of donated parts for the car. Rat's Glass did the body, and he's done the bodies just about for everyone that we've done, if I'm not mistaken. And I may be wrong in that, and somebody will correct me on that, I'm sure. Billet Specialties did the wheels. B.F. Goodrich does the tires. Small block Chevrolet.
Is that a crate motor?
It's a crate motor. And Billet Specialties furnished all the alternator brackets, valve covers, breather, all of that stuff. Jim Wrench did the grill insert, PPG paint.
Yeah, let me stop you there. What color is that?
It is a Honda blue. It's just we out to lunch one day. We'll drive by the new car lots and we'll pick a color. And last year we did that new green that was on the new Camaros. You know,
Oh, yeah, Envy green or
and
something.
This year we wanted a blue that was sort of like the green, if that makes any sense. It's
Right.
in that same tone. And
It's almost a safety color.
yeah, it is.
Right,
It
right,
is,
yeah.
It is.
It's got a lot of metallic
And
in
if
it.
it doesn't
too.
turn out real good, we give it away anyway. So we don't have to tell them.
No, you wouldn't want to do that. I mean, your name's on it. So now, like I say, folks, now Bobby is just picking the car up. He's going to take it back to the shop. So there's a few tweaks you still need to do on it.
They are.
You know, so if you catch a blemish, obviously the hood and the side covers are missing, but it's good because it allows us to get a good view of that motor. And I guess you don't dyno, it's just a crate motor. So
Yes,
was it
it's just a great motor.
350, something like that? Now I was looking
It
at
was
the.
donated by a Chevrolet dealer, and I should know the name of it, but I don't. And they come to our show and they set up and vend at our show, and I'm embarrassed because I don't remember the name of the dealer that donated that engine, but they will be at our show.
Okay. Are those headers? Are those something that you've made custom? They look kind of
It's
trick.
Sanderson. Out
Yeah?
of the box, we just had them coated. Performance Coatings in Jonesboro, Georgia coated those headers for us.
I don't know, just the twist on them. I guess it just looks cool. Looks very cool. I really like the car. I like the color of it. And of course, it's got your big wheels on the back of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
17s
you're
and
notorious for that. How big are those?
17s and 20s, 17 10s, 17 7s in the front.
Okay.
Pete and Jake suspension under.
Yeah, I was
the
getting ready to ask you who the
They-
suspension
they-
was from.
They've donated the suspension for these cars for a few years now. They're a great company out of Missouri.
I gotcha. And so for 30 years, y'all been giving a car away?
No, not all 30. About 26 or 7, I think. We gave away. We built a car. Gosh, I don't know how many give. Seriously, some years we gave away 2.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, that's awful gracious of you.
I'm about done too.
You're a regular saint, Bobby.
Be registering to win because I don't know how many more of these are going to be. We're getting old.
We were talking earlier, and you said it may be the last one, but then again, I heard that the 32nd year coming up, you wanted to do something special.
I would really like to do one, and that you know, everybody says they're going to quit doing these things, but and that is the goal. That's when I think I'll quit. Not building cars, but
Right.
doing giveaway cars.
Yeah, that'll be all over the internet. And just later this week, Bobby Alloway retires in 2 years. Tell me, I mean, you're talking about giving away the cars, but the show you're going to keep up, or you think?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. We have right now. We have a 3-year contract with Dollywood Splash Country.
That's where it's at.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And we moved over there about 2 or 3 years ago. Got on asphalt. Indoor plumbing was the best thing that we got.
Sure.
Plus asphalt. We had if it rains now, as soon as it quits, it dries up. Before we were in a field, and the only problem we have there is we have a limited amount of space, and this year may be the year that we find a cutoff number, because it may be, and I don't know if I don't know if it'll be 2,900 or 3,500, but we're probably going to have a cutoff number for.
I was going to ask you, how many cars a year do you usually get average?
We have somewhere shy of 3,000.
Wow, that's a big show.
We have probably one of the best quality shows in the country. Most all the high rent cars come and to try to win the awards.
What? How many awards do you give out?
We give 25 top 25 awards, and out of that 25, we have the Fabulous 5. Which is the 5 best cars that we think out of the 25 that we pick. And then out of that, we'll have Best Street Rod, Best Street Machine, and Best Street Cruiser. And the Street Cruiser is a classification that we come up with with Street Rodder magazine. They've helped us promote it quite a bit, and it's for big cars, sort of like. We did a Buick a while back for a guy by the name of Doyle Thomas out of Texas, and some Starliners and stuff like that. Well, there's no class for those cars. They're not customs. They're not street machines. They're not street rods. They were just a big old cruiser car, and those cars were getting lost. So now,
it's kind of like a stock class?
No, it's sort of like, and Steve will have some of them here. It'll be. I did a 49 Ford convertible for myself back years ago, and it wasn't a custom. It wasn't a street machine, and when you go to the event, there wasn't a category for that car. You know, if you went to one of the Good Guys events, or back then you couldn't take it to NSRA's events because it was too late a model, and that was a problem. Very nice car, but no classification for it. So it didn't have enough body modifications to be considered as a custom, and when I'm saying that is what we'll do is we'll take a stock bodied car, such as, and I'll use that car as an example, and we won't chop the top, we won't do this, leave all the trim on it and just put a chassis under it, slam it, put a late model drivetrain in it, and late model interior, and then we're done. Outside the car,
So it's kind of like a resto mod. Kinda.
Somewhat.
But it's a bigger car.
Yeah,
It wouldn't be like your Chevelle or your Camaro or something. It'd be a bigger car.
Your Chevelle or your Camaro could fall under the street machine category. I mean, if you think of a street machine, you sure don't think of a 55 Buick.
No, sir. No, you don't.
And you think more of that as a custom. But a custom to me is a lot of bod modifications, and that's what we're not doing to these cars. These old 50s and 60 cars were pretty. There wasn't no sense in screwing them up,
Right.
you know, as far as cutting them up real bad. I mean, they're pretty cars to start out with.
Right. You didn't have to do that to those.
No, you don't.
Right.
No, you don't. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't, because
Right.
if you like customs, so be it.
Right.
Build you a custom, but you don't have to. They had so much chrome and Art Deco stuff that was they're great cars.
Well,
Beautiful
that was the whole thing back then.
Yeah.
They made the cars
cars.
attractive.
You're exactly right.
Now everything is a bullet because aerodynamics and things like that. But back
Plastic.
then, big fins and just crazy. You know what I'm saying?
You're exactly right.
I don't know what they were on in Detroit, but they were coming up with some crazy stuff back in the 50s.
Right.
You know, pretty beautiful cars.
Exactly.
Now tell me, to enter the show, is there a certain year the car's got to be so old, or can anybody enter?
Pre-72.
Okay.
Pre-72. We opened it up to 72 a few years ago. We had it pre-49 or pre-48, whatever they call it, and our show was actually dying somewhat. You know,
Sure.
when I was, of course, I'm older than most everybody seems like anymore. You know, when I was growing up, I drove a 55 Chevrolet and wanted a 32 Ford.
Right.
Now the guys that's coming to shows may have drove a 69 Camaro and wanted a 55 Chevrolet, or still yet they may have wanted a 69 Camaro. You know, they may have, it may be to that, and we had to open it up to keep the show going, and Lord, I think it's great. I mean, you get to see everything now.
Sure.
I mean, you know, before it was sort of taboo. You didn't want a Camaro at a street rod show, but you got to love all the cars.
I agree with you 100%.
It gives you more to look at. You can only look at a 32 Ford so long.
Well, and you know, somehow, I mean, I'm only 45 years old, or 46. I just turned 46 last Friday. But for somehow, we've got to get younger people involved, because we can't, you can't take this hobby and this sport with you. You know what I'm saying? So unless you know, with the imports and all that, you're probably not going to get the 17, 18-year-olds. But somehow we got to get that 25 to 30-year-old interested in the car, and this is a very cool car. But then again,
But your 25 or 30-year-old guy doesn't want this.
right?
He
That's
doesn't
what
want
I'm saying.
this.
But he
wants
might
this.
want a '69 Camaro.
He would, and
Yeah.
that's something he can afford to build.
Right.
I mean, these cars have got so expensive that I mean, they're even way too expensive to give away. But we try to, at our show. We have a lot of people. We give away quite a bit. We try to give it back to our participants, because if it wasn't for them, we couldn't have the show.
Sure.
And we're not doing it to make money off of. We're doing it just to put on a show. We've done it so many years, and like you say, the problem we're having is there's not a lot of young kids coming up.
Right.
But the ones that are coming up are sharp.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
right.
they keep us jumping. I mean, I don't know how they come up with some of the stuff that they come up with. I mean, some of the ideas, it's beyond me. I mean, some of the stuff that some of these guys are building, I don't know how to build it. I couldn't build it if I had to. I don't have the imagination that they have, you know.
I don't know
I
about
put
that.
big wheels and paint them black and put little wheels on the front and big old motors in it.
That's all you do.
That's about the extent
Yeah,
of
that's
my-
all you do is paint them
my
black and put big
imagination.
tires on them.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
all we
believe
do.
that, but well, I mean, I agree with you. Is that somehow, some way, you got to get younger builders coming along, and in order for there to be younger builders, there's got to be a person to sell those cars to. And it seems like when you're 18 to your early 20s, imports, things like that, but there seems to be an age for a guy that at a certain point he starts to get that American V8, and you know what I'm saying, and that's only going to come from a muscle car or a street rod or something like that. So no, I agree. Now, will that be a rotating? Will 72 always be the year, or will next year it be a 73, something like that?
No, I think it's. I don't know.
Because you're getting into that gap year now. When you start to get to 73, then, you know.
You know, NSRA went 30 years prior to current, so
Right.
each year they move up one. And gosh, what would it be? It'd be 82 this year or something like
Right.
that, and I just can't hardly see 82. I mean, it's still a classic car type deal, so.
Right.
You know, but who knows? Who knows? I don't think we will ever.
Right.
I just don't. I don't foresee that.
Now, is it trophies, or is it cash prizes that you can compete for?
On pre-registration, I think we're giving away. You could win $10,000 this year, and then your number goes back in the hat, and to win this car. In fact, you could win, if you pre-registered, you could win the 10 grand. and this car, if you were lucky enough, because your number goes back in the hat.
Oh, well, how cool is that?
And some people's got real close. I mean, we've had some guy. We had one guy one year stand in the same place. He won the. We did an unfinished giveaway car. He won it one year, came back and stood in the same place the next year and won it again.
Holy cow.
Now that's luck.
Yeah, that is luck. I don't have that kind of luck.
Oh, I don't either.
Yeah, no. All right, and so if people are interested in registering or they want to get tickets, where should they go to do
Come to
that?
the show now. You have to come to Splash Country.
Okay.
They're at Dollywood, and that'll be September the 8th and 9th.
Okay.
And go
There's no website to pre-order or anything like that?
No, pre-registration ended on May the 15th, I think.
Okay,
Something
so now you got to register when you get to the show, but that's not a problem.
That's not a
If somebody shows up with a car, they're going to be able to get it in.
I
You hope?
so.
Yeah.
I hope so. I hope that would be a problem, be a nice problem to have, but it would be a terrible problem to have too.
Yeah.
You know, there's just so much parking up there, but we're Dollywood is going to help us park cars this year, and they're a whole lot more familiar with parking cars than our little 11 guys at Shades of the Past are. So I think that'll help a lot too.
And if I just want to come and see the show, how much are tickets?
I think they're $10. You're asking me a lot of questions
Well,
that I haven't. That I build cars.
I got you. But I thought this was Bobby Alloway, Shades of the Past. So that's why I was asking. If I was out of line, I'm sorry.
No,
but
you're not. You're not.
I got
It's
you.
just you're
Well,
asking-
$10 is a bargain, though.
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, what do you call it? We were just in. We were good guys, and it was $18 for that ticket. And I don't remember. I didn't pay because I got a media pass in Louisville, but I know it was 15
Well,
or
I'm
18
sure
bucks
you'll
there.
have one here at this one. Too.
I'm glad to hear that. Now tell me, before we run, and I promised you, Bobby, that I wouldn't take a bunch of your time, but you're an interesting guy, so I have some questions. Is this basically, and I'm not trying to discount it when I say this, but is this car basically like a kit car? Not so much a kit car, but you know what I'm saying? Did you do any modifications to it, or can somebody
really-
go buy this body and kind of put the thing together themselves?
I really don't like to call them a kit car because back years ago, kit
I know,
cars had
I know, and I hate to use that too.
I guess if you look at it like that, it probably is because everything on this car could be bought. You know, the gauges are custom in this car, but Classic Instruments makes anybody custom gauges. They just don't put 30th anniversary Shades of the Past in.
Let's say that, is it plug and play? I guess that's a more modern term, that if you bought the chassis, is that one of your chassis?
Yes.
Okay, so if I bought a chassis from you, then I could buy the body, it would bolt right up.
Yes.
And then I could put a 350 Chevy in it. That would bolt right up. Then I could go and there's the company that does the suspension, and I could do that, and that would bolt right up.
To some extent.
Right,
to some
there's some massaging that needs to be done with any of
I think
this.
the trick to it is yes, you buy all of these components, but the trick is how do you put them on? Where do you put them on, and how you put them on? You
Right.
know, there's a set way of putting some of this suspension under the cars, and then there's another way of putting it under there where it looks a little different.
Right.
And we do everything at our shop custom. So we build the car around the tires and wheels.
Right.
And that's the reason they set the way that they do.
So if I did do that, I wouldn't end up with one that looked like this. You've done some massaging to it.
We've done, yeah, I've got there's a young guy that only place he's ever worked was for me, and it's Josh Bailey, and I think he's mine. His dad is a real good friend of mine, and Josh is the one who did the chassis on this car, and then Scotty Troutman, gosh, he had his own shop here in town for a few years and decided he didn't want to be in business, and we're so blessed to have him, and he's the one who painted it. It's just been a joint effort with the guys, but they know how to make these cars look like that. I don't have to tell them anymore. Lord, we've done so many of these that
They know what
without
you
them, I
expect,
couldn't
right?
do it. That's a
Right.
fact.
Yeah, I know. I got into a conversation the other day with somebody, and I tried to explain to him that even though it's a Bobby Alloway hot rod, don't think that Bobby bolts every part and paints every piece on these
Oh, you're
cars.
right. You're
I
exactly
mean, you would
right.
get
I wished-
one car, you're
years
done.
ago I did.
Right.
But now I don't, and when those guys have worked for me, you know, I've got Toby Caldwell, I've got Scott Emmer, he's worked for me since I used to work at the Ford dealership, and Joe's dad, Josh's dad, Joe, and Steve, and Glenn Shabbos, he helps on this stuff, but Toby's our glass guy. He does all of our glass work, and we got a little boy named Dustin Ford. He's our little detail guy. He goes around and he does this and he does that, and But it takes as they say, it takes a village to
Right,
do it. And,
right.
And I'm the one that just sort of heads up and gets them all started in the right direction. And they stay mad at me about half the time.
Well, sure, that because you're.
Sometimes I say, well, we shouldn't do it like that, or.
Well, it's a lot easier to tell them you got to do it this way when it's not you having to do
I
it.
did paint the frame though. I
Okay.
have to do just enough to let them know that I can still do it.
Right. Got to still earn their respect.
You
I
have to.
understand. Well, brother, I appreciate it. Let me walk around this thing and get a good look at it. I love the color. Like I said, I love the whole car, the stance of it. And like I said, I just wanted people to know that for the suppliers of the car, of the pieces, that, you know, you don't necessarily have to have, you know, a top-notch shop like you to put one of these together.
Absolutely not. I mean, this is probably our entry-level car here that we do. Most of the stuff that we do is a little bit more modified. It's got a little bit more bells and whistles on it than this one, but you know, we're giving this thing away. You can only do so much when you're giving something away.
Sure. Yeah, this is. I mean, I don't think.
Maybe you can put back on when we get the hood and all of that stuff on it. You know, it'd be nice for you to show a picture of it then, because it sure does look good with the hood on it.
Right. I think it looks cool this way, but I agree. When I come up there, I'll get some stills of it, and I'll actually put those stills on my blog so people can see it when it was completely finished. Tell me, just I promise you I wouldn't ask you a bunch of off-key questions here, but tell me, well, how many cars a year do you build now, on average?
Well, some years you'll have one, and some years then the next year you may have 6 or 7, but it's generally 3 to 4 cars a year. But those cars have been started probably a year prior to that. You know, we generally work on a car a year and a half. Now, not the giveaway cars.
Sure, no.
A full-blown build.
Right.
Well, you know, you order parts for 6 months and try to get it started to build, and then once you start, it's paint and body work's the hard thing.
That's right.
And I'm blessed to have some real good guys. All the guys in the shop, of course, just about every one of them can do any part of this, and that's what makes it great.
And as I explained it to somebody too, I said, they were like, oh, I'm going to school to be a painter. I was like, well, you know, I hate to tell you, but there are no strictly painters out there, you know?
Somebody needs to tell you how to mix it and give you a little bit of a insight on how to do a few things, and that's about the only schooling's going to help you. The rest of us pick the gun up and try.
Right.
But you know, the painter gets a whole lot more credit than he deserves.
Sure.
It's the body guy, the guy who rubs it.
It's all the prep work.
Other than this metallics, you know, the metallics are a little harder. You take a straight color, and if you put enough on with a roller, if you got a good enough sander and bumper, you can make it look good. So.
Right. But yeah, you're right. Metallic's tough to lay down.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
And then underneath and everything's finished on this car.
It should be.
It is. I'm letting you know. And now, is those drum brakes in the back?
They are. It's a 9-inch Ford. That's a Curry rear end under the car.
Okay.
They have donated the rear ends for these cars for years. But if you're going to do a car, you've got to do both sides of it. You're working on the bottom of it, you might as well slick it.
Right. Well,
if you're going to drive it, people say, well, why would you want to slick if you're going to drive it? Well, the slicker it is, the easier it is to keep clean.
that's right.
Try to clean an undercoated car up on the bottom. You can't.
Yeah, you can't. You keep this waxed, you can get up there and rinse it down, dry it off, and go on your way.
You can wash it with a sponge, or you can let it get dirty, and 2 years later you can get back under it and clean it. Now, it may have chips on it.
Right. Well, and let's face it, it has no top, so we're not going to be out driving in any rainstorms.
Well, it seems like every time we've ever done one of these things, and I've got out in a Roadster like this at a show or tried to debut one, it's always rained. So I guess that's the reason you put leather. That cow was in the rain, wasn't he, Steve? Before he come off of that.
Yeah, but I don't think it'll survive as well as that cow did. Well, Bobby, again, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you giving me time to tell me about this and get the word out on your show, of course. I know that's part of it, but more than that, folks, if y'all know anything about Bobby Alloway, you know he doesn't do a lot of interviews. And Steve Holcomb hooked me up because, you know, they're buddies and they work together on these cars. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate both of them. And I just...
This car, you may see some build-up on this car on our website. Some of the boys, some young boys there in the shop, like Dustin, we call him Ace. He he keeps our website going on some updates anymore.
I actually have Ace's truck on my website,
Do you?
on my channel.
He's-
I shot that S10 with the gold flames and all. I think it's an S10.
Franken something or another, isn't it? Is that what they call it?
I don't know,
See,
but
that's how those young guys. He's way above me on.
see, my mistake is I called it a lowrider, and oh my goodness, I got crucified for that. That truck's not a lowrider; it's a mini
Call
truck.
this a kit car.
Well, and you know what? I'm going to take hell over that too, and I feel bad. You know what I'm saying? I get the chance to talk to you, and
And we
what I
got
do,
a-
I call your hot rod a
Got
kit car.
Mail order interior, I guess.
No, I didn't. I know. I could take it, but I didn't know how to put it. But you know where the point I was trying to get at was basically, again, is
You're
that
probably right though, because every piece on this car, you can pick up the phone and order every piece on it.
that was my point. Because anybody that's been around this stuff will know that even though they tell you it'll bolt right up, most of the time it doesn't bolt right up. You got to do a little adjustments and, align things and maybe re-drill a hole or,
It may bolt up the way that they intended it to bolt up, but if you want something a little different, then bolting it up the way that they intended it to bolt up is just like what everybody else is going to have. So change it a little.
Right.
It doesn't take much.
Right.
To move something around and do this and do that to get a little bit different stance and get your own look to a car.
So again, I mean, the thing is they're not going to, if somebody was so inclined, they had been around, they're mechanically inclined, they could probably build one of these in their garage.
Absolutely.
That's my point.
Absolutely. If they wanted to, if they wanted to bad enough, they could do it.
And it's not as easy as putting a model together. It's going to take a little more work than that.
Patience.
Yeah.
Patience.
But if you do have the desire and the patience, in the end, you could build your own hot rod.
The desire is what you really need, the want to, because if you don't have that, I mean, I'm self-taught. I had a guy years ago that let me watch him paint, and I always wanted to paint, but he never would let me paint. And in the later years, I did some painting for him. Sort of made me feel real good that I got to paint for him finally. But pick up the stuff and do it yourself. That's how you learn.
Practice.
Mess up,
Right.
and you won't do that again. Finally, you've messed up enough that you'll finally get it right sooner.
Right. Well, you get tired of fixing it, right? It's tough enough to do it the first time. You don't want to do it the second time.
I've got a building full of screw-ups.
Now, let me ask you a question too. This came up. I had some people talk because I've got a few of your cars on my channel that we brought out here, and so again, they perceive that I know you. And one of the questions somebody asked me is they had seen an article or they had seen a video where you had said we are more of a build shop than a paint shop. You remember?
I never remember saying that. I don't know if I said. I may have said.
Hey, and I'm not quoting you. I'm just saying. And my feeling on that,
we hate to paint. It's a necessary evil for us. We hate it. If we could, and what I would like to do is give you this car, setting just like this, with this motor, this transmission, all of that stuff in it, and let you paint it yourself. Let you do the paint and body work. That's what I'd love to do, but we can't.
Right.
I will do that for you.
Sure.
In any form or fashion, but the paint and the body work is absolutely for us is the hardest part because you looked under this car. We try to do every single speck of it, every little, and it's hard to try to make them fit the way you want them to, and that's just the hardest part.
So it drives you crazy striving for perfection. I would think, yeah.
It kills me because
you would rather build them.
Sometimes you wished you couldn't see it, but,
right.
But, sometimes you think it's a curse because, I can see that. I can see that door doesn't fit, or there's a metallic spot in this thing, or this, that, and the other, and it absolutely kills you. And the beauty of our shop is everybody in the shop can see that.
Right.
So they're as critical as I am on these things, and that's what takes us so long at the paint and body is trying to get it right. We'll put it together 5 or 6 times before we'll take it apart, put it together, take it apart, put it together, till we know that it will come apart and go together after it's painted, so there's no uh-ohs. This car, actually, right before I went to Louisville to the Nats, we just painted this car, and a week later, this car was at Steve's. Wired, put together, running, driving, and the reason for that is is we had spent so much prep time to get the car to where we knew once it was painted it would go together. And a lot of guys will rush, especially pro shops, they'll rush trying to, because the customer is rushing, well, when we're going to paint, when we're going to paint. Well, they'll paint before it needs to be painted. And you're better off to say, you know, when we paint, it'll go real quick on us. But you know, I would rather have them be happy at the end as at the beginning.
That's, again, goes back to prep time.
It does.
Making sure that it's
Absolutely.
right. And I guess most people, the uninitiated, or the people that don't spend a lot of time around this, would think the painting's the cool part. That's the fun part. But really, you'd rather spend your time building them and coming up with the creation.
You
And
ever
then,
build a house? How easy is it to frame a house?
all right,
Easy to frame a house.
Right.
Looks like everything's going, just flies together. Then start trimming it out, start finishing it. There's where your time. And that's the problem. A lot of guys will run out of money right there at the end, and I would rather stop on the project as half do it. You know, the thing about it is you've got to finish a car, and there's where a lot of people will have their shortfall, is they won't finish it. And when I say finish it, it's that last 2 or 3 weeks of stuff that you're doing that looks like you haven't done anything.
you know what's funny about that is I spend a lot of time at car shows, and one of the things that kills me is I see cars that I know people have put a ton of money into, and it's like, you're right, they stop 5% short of making it a perfect car, and it's like, why, when you spend all that time and that money, did you not make sure that body was perfectly straight?
You know, I judge, we do a Nashville show, we do NSRA show, we do Shades of the Past show. I'm one of the judges at the Grand National Roadster show. And that last bit that really makes the car real good is labor. It isn't money. It isn't material things. It isn't buying this wheel or this. It's labor. It's just time to sit back and look. And you may sit and look at a car a half a day and not do anything to it, just to pick it to see what you need to do to it. But it's dotting I's and crossing the T's at the end, and that's where a lot of people have their shortfall. I mean, they'll have a great car, spend another week or two on it and
Right.
finish it.
When you think you got it done, spend another couple weeks making sure it's done.
And
I
never
gotcha.
take it out before it's done. You only have one first impression.
Right. And you can't rush it.
You can't.
I mean-
and we built a car for a guy down in Georgia that wanted it for his 60th birthday, and it was a 32 Victoria. And I think that you said you were going to shoot the car at our show. We won Street Rod of the Year with that car, and I was probably a year late on that car.
I know, he told me.
And he told me to. And I would rather, instead of giving him the car, and I wouldn't have done it, but instead of giving him the car halfway done, I would rather put up with him wanting the car, and then when I give him the car, it be done.
All's forgiven when you gave it to him.
He hasn't picked up the car yet, but when he does pick up the car, he's got Street Rod of the Year.
Right.
Over about another 6 or 8 or 10 months wait. So
Huh.
hopefully it was worth
It paid off.
I hope so.
So you built the man the car. That's his car. He has to visit at car shows, though.
For a little.
Right. That's how it works. All right. Well, brother, again, I can't tell you how much I appreciate
Well,
it,
thank
Bobby.
you, Scott.
Thanks so much. Folks, there you go. Bobby Alloway, the 2012 Shades of the Past giveaway car. If you're close, if you got nothing to do, you're looking for something to do, come up to the show, and you'll see me walking around in the bright yellow t-shirt, say hi. And like I said, I think it's something that is a good way to come see some hot rods, see some of the nicest cars in the nation, actually. So hope you all have enjoyed it. Y'all have a good day. Thanks.